A glorious sky this morning. I'm very happy for our filming team that are going out preparing some of the footage for the pilgrimage for Lent to enjoy this marvelous sky this morning. I'd like to underline two major points made in the readings today. The first reading is difficult for our understanding. In many ways, but there's a major step of progress made in the midst of all that darkness of human understanding of God's will. A major growth point. Sometimes we think we could please God by doing something that's easier for us rather than doing what He wants from us. It would be like, even though the child doesn't express the wants directly with full understanding, but the child needs good education and the parents just give him something to keep him busy, a cell phone or something. Instead of having the conversations, the encounters, the experience of family love that the child needs. And we give them something else and say, we made this sacrifice for them, we bought this for them. We have to give them the real thing. Also spouses towards each other, to give the real love of the best for what God wants for each one. And not just something to cover up. And so there's a famous phrase here that is also from the book of Samuel that comes back up in the New Testament very clearly. And God doesn't want sacrifice but obedience. How can we sacrifice some animals to God but disobey Him? And we can't make up for our disobedience by just sacrificing an animal. We need true conversion of heart. And sometimes we like to buy our own independence, our own way of doing things, and do a cover-up solution. And this principle today is already 3,000 years old, the time of Samuel, that obedience is better than sacrifice, that our will adapts to God, that our will seeks to do His will. Let's say you have some criminal group and they plunder other people's possessions, and maybe even kill in the process, but then bring an offering to God, like to cover up. That's completely unreal. It's completely repugnant to God. And we all have to struggle with that because we often try to give some little thing instead of giving Him our heart, to love Him with all our heart and all our soul and all our strength. I find this principle today very, very enlightening, very powerful, a major spiritual progress in the life of the chosen people, to come to that clarity, that maturity of understanding of the spiritual life. And that should be one of our greatest prayers. Lord, let me know your will and do it. Give me the strength to do it. Give me the strength to do it first, but let me know it then so I can do it. I don't want to know it and not be able to do it. You give me the strength to do it. Help me to get fit to do it. You can't ask any kid, just pull a kid out of a classroom in high school and say, go run the Olympic for the country. A lot of training is needed. I remember years ago it was considered that was the average medalist in an Olympic Games had spent 4 hours daily in exercise for 6 years in order to be an Olympic medalist. I'm not sure what it is today because the competition always increases, is fiercer. And if that's the kind of training to win an Olympic medal, imagine to win the holiness of our will united with God completely, which at the end of the day is the true holiness. It's not just external poses, lifting up our eyes to heaven, saying nice stuff like me in the morning. True holiness is doing God's will. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And if we look at the history of salvation, the first great break for humanity when we got broken was disobedience of Genesis chapter 3. And then in the book of Revelation it reveals to us that in the Gospels a little bit, that the rebellion of Satan was the original rebellion of creation in eternity before all time. That rebellion that didn't accept God's gifts, wanting to replace God, to oppose God, to rebel against God. And then if we look at the complete opposite, we see that the New Testament teaching is so clear that Jesus saved us by his obedience to the Father. Not so much the nails and the thorns and those are circumstances. They just illustrate how wonderful his obedience was, how powerful it was. So there we have a great teaching today in the book of Samuel, probably one of the earliest times it has come out like that, in that formulation. God wants obedience, not sacrifices. And then the other one is also a very, very big word about who is Jesus in today's gospel. And there's a dispute about if there should be fasting. And Jesus said, well, how can they fast when the bridegroom is there? There's a wedding going on. But that's a clear symbolic understanding of his life, that he is the bridegroom and they are the bridal party, the companions of the bridegroom. And they are celebrating because it's in the middle of a marriage. And so that marriage is the public life of Jesus going on, and especially the passion, death and resurrection and Pentecost. And this is then a direct word about who Jesus is, because for the chosen people at that time, the groom of God's people, Israel, you are my spouse, is clearly the Creator. Your Creator has called you to be his spouse. It's a beautiful, beautiful text. And this is the greatness of the spiritual life. And there were a group of people here yesterday who had finished a 20 years program of spiritual life. And the priest who was with them said they're having the spiritual marriage today at the culmination of this 20 years of commitment of spiritual life. Their spiritual marriage. I was deeply touched because these are people that have walked a long time together in community, learning about the faith, studying the faith, going deeper into the faith. And we're actually all called to this spiritual marriage as Christians with Christ. The concrete incarnation of the love of God that has come into our lives. It's a reflection in our souls of that great love that God has for us. And that's totally in consonance with all the scriptural background. For example, one of the most important texts at all, to love God with all our heart and all our soul and all our strength. And this is the spiritual marriage. And just like a couple enter into complete union in marriage, and that's where the metaphor is, they only want to give delight to each other, to give a fullness of gift of self to each other. And that actually is very well expressed, to love God with all my heart and all my soul and all my strength and all my decisions and all my discerning and all my thinking, to be completely aligned with God, to be completely united to God. Not just aligned and far away, but one with God. God wants to be one with us, and we as creatures participating in that love. So very, very powerful lines today in the readings that are a great blessing for us. So we leave it like that, people. God bless you. See you later, alligators. It's chilly this morning, but that's nice. And fresh winter morning, that's part of the natural cycle. God bless you. See you later, alligators.